We have completed our very successful attack on 3 of the nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, Isfahan, and all the planes are now outside of Iran's airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Who typed that? Who typed that? Who would be so childish as to say that? We just unleashed a whole bunch of radiation on a whole bunch of people, not only in that neighboring state and city and countries all around it, but it'll be over the way here. Thanks for your time. Thank you. Are you happy? Yeah, they really are. They really are. We are in trouble. And for everybody who ridiculed when I said I was no longer going to be a part of the party and not going to vote and not deal with any of that stuff because I knew that there was some trash going on. And you guys, especially family members, were sending me messages and calling me, talking about, that's not nice. You have a very big voice and people are going to follow that. Well, I hope they do, but I hope they think for themselves, first of all. I don't want them to do it because I'm doing it. I want them to do it because they've thought for themselves and they've done the research and they see that it doesn't matter who's around. If they want to fight, baby, they're going to fight. If they want to fight, they're going to fight. This is not about nuclear anything. This is about the fallout that they'll get because of doing what they've done and in the hopes to push us to World War III. That's the hopes. The hope is that that's where we'll end, just in a constant fight, in a constant battle. That's the hope. Because if you're in a constant battle, and especially with the warmongering individuals who have something to do with this, you've got to understand one important thing, and that is that they love being at war. They've been at war for centuries. They've been at war for hundreds of years. It's what they do. They fund both sides. They get high off of both sides. It's not just one side they get high on. They get high off their own supply because they will supply you not only with the money to fund your side and the weaponry on the one side, they'll do the same for the opposite side. They're like somebody who goes to the casino and puts some money down on a football team and votes on both sides, bets on both sides. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what this is. Yeah, I've done that. I've gone to the casino and I've said, okay, I'll take, this one and this one will parlay on both sides just to see what happens. Yeah, you won't take me. Right. You won't take me. Okay. All right. So homeboy is scheduled to go and have a conversation, and it's going to be in about, 30 minutes of our time here Central. I think I want to listen to this, even though I really don't care for these people or any of them. Let me go on ahead and just pull them up for you so that we can all share it together. But that's exactly what we're looking at. So let's go on ahead and get this in.
Israel on the ground. I just want to reiterate, this is a huge moment in that President Donald Trump has authorized and the U.S. military has just pulled off strikes inside Iran at 3 different nuclear sites, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The word coming from President Trump's Truth Social that the bombers were outside of Iranian airspace, that the payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. As you look at the map there, I want to go live on the ground to Trey Yingst, chief foreign correspondent, about reaction there on the ground, what the Israelis are saying, plus what you think this fallout may be.
Yeah, Brett, good evening. This has been the talk of Israel for the past several days as the country waited to see if the Americans would get directly involved in the conflict. And even up in the last few hours, I was talking with current and former sources, trying to get an understanding of when this might happen. And at 1:55 local time, one source said rumors, Trump gave the word, supposed to be happening now. We were working on tracking it down, and the president taking to Truth Social to say the Americans did indeed strike 3 separate Iranian nuclear facilities, including the Fordow nuclear facility deep underground outside of the Iranian capital of Tehran. The bottom line here is that people are talking about enrichment. They understand that this decision was made because the Iranians were increasing their uranium enrichment capabilities and increasing the purity closer and closer to weapons-grade material. And the concern was that the Iranian regime was just weeks away from being able to build a nuclear bomb. We've seen over the past 9 days, the country has the ability to strike major population centers here in Israel with ballistic missiles. So you can imagine that having a nuclear warhead that could ultimately be attached to a ballistic missile would clearly be a direct threat to the Jewish state. And that was why the Israelis said that they made the decision to start these strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities and against top IRGC officials. And clearly tonight, President Trump ordering these strikes against the Iranian regime's nuclear program because there was no off-ramp for diplomacy at this point. There was that 60-day window that President Trump gave the Iranians to come to the table, 5 rounds of conversations, most of them taking place in Oman, with Steve Witkoff, President Trump's Middle East envoy, other top American officials meeting directly and indirectly with their Iranian counterparts, but the Iranians did not want to finish a deal. And ultimately, the decision was made by Israel to launch this operation that has led to a war developing between the two countries. And then again, tonight, the Americans getting directly involved, launching these strikes with those bombers over Iranian territory. We will certainly learn more information as daylight comes tomorrow in the region. But the bottom line here is that a decision was made that will change the reality of the current war between Israel and Iran and possibly create a scenario where the Iranians really have no other option than to give in, because the president has hit them so hard with these strikes, and the Israelis are continuing to take out their top military leadership, that the country is in a state of disarray. And so the bottom line here is that these strikes tonight show not only solidarity with the American ally in the Middle East, Israel, but also they show that the region is at a crossroads here. There are clear decisions that will have to be made by the regime officials that are still alive and by the country's supreme leader and the country's president, Masoud Pezeshkian. And so certainly more hours ahead, we'll learn that information. But again, the bottom line tonight is that the decision was made by President Trump to take out, in effect, these nuclear facilities that the Iranians were using to enrich uranium closer and closer to weapons-grade material. You might remember back during the nuclear deal that President Trump pulled out of in 2018, the Iranians were enriching uranium at 3.67%. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, they were enriching uranium close to 60% purity, getting very, very close to a weapons-grade purity, which would give them the component that they would need to create a nuclear weapon. And so this is a historic moment in the Middle East tonight, and again, an opportunity for the region, as the president laid out in his statement, for peace in the future, because this is a region that understands peace through strength. Brett?
Yes, that's definitely true. Trey, stand by.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to...
Okay, so now we see that, but let's just get down to some of the brass tacks, some of the information that I stated that I wanted to share with you. We've got about 25 minutes before the president actually goes live. If he, I believe that the time that they're going is DC time, which is Eastern. So for me, I'm Central. So we've got a few minutes. But these are not just facilities. They're living symbols of Iran's technological ambitions, the diplomatic tensions and the strategic defenses. The understanding of these profiles gives you guys a real insight into the stakes behind the global headlines, right? So behind everything that we could be talking about right now, this is of urgent importance to understand not just some of the things that, people are saying about what they believe this is going to mean. I want to, as I normally do, take you down a little bit. Now, there is some strategic importance about Fordow. And now it's deeply buried into a mountain. And it enacts Iran's high-grade uranium enrichment. Now, that's making it one of the most fortified nuclear sites, not just with them, but in the world. So that's important to understand that. Very important to understand. So once we get that in our mind, then we have to also understand that as the United States strike marks a direct American military intervention alongside of Israel's, hotbed of opinion, this ongoing campaign is now signaling a major shift in regional conflict. That's what this is doing. I need you to understand that's what's going on. So it's not just he went in and he hit Iran. No, this is shaking the entire region. And I'm going to tell you something. If a couple of other players decide that they want to join in the reindeer games, this could be a real big problem for the entire world. Now, he just went on back, strutting his stuff. All right. Just strutting like George Jefferson, that little strut that he had when he think he's bad. Right. But he doesn't understand what is really going to happen. Everybody feels like, oh, well, big deal. Anybody that comes our way, we'll just go ahead and handle them. Really? This move is receiving so many mixed reactions right now. You've got the United States being praised by some of the Republicans, and some of them are just indecisive altogether. But there are others that are criticizing, not just some Democrats. There's also, people like Bernie Sanders, obviously Rashida Tlaib, saying that it's risky and unconstitutional. And I venture to say that they're not wrong. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm on either side of the fence, but I do know the difference between what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's bad. Now, Israel made a statement. If you guys remember at the top of the week, I believe it was the top of this past week, there was a soundbite of Benjamin Netanyahu making a statement saying the U.S. they know to do what's good for them. Basically, you better roll with me. Because if you don't roll with me, it's going to be major problems. Why? Because if you look at every single person that's in our Congress and in our Senate, the majority of our senators of Congress are major job holders, I should say, the major cabinet people. They're all from over yonder. Every one of them. They all have dual citizenship with that place over there. So you don't have much of a choice but to do what they say when you done sold yourself out. I mean, remember that passage that talks about, Israel having a whore's forehead? Well, that may be this one right here for sure. It's not necessarily the real people, but it's definitely this one showing that they are just easily paid. They pay off everybody to just come onto their whims. Now, the Israeli strikes have already damaged the air defenses. Though Fordo at that time was fortified because it was so deep. All right. Now, they're going to tell us that it was hit. But I do know that all the top structures were hit. God help us if the underground core was hit. All right. That's the question. Will the underground core of Fordo survive? Now, Iran originally used its depth to protect it. But there have been some recent photos that have been circulating around and some statements that are still being analyzed. Still being analyzed right now, trying to look at it and see, is it real? Is it fake? Is it live? Is it Memorex? I want everybody to understand that you had better expect escalated regional tensions because Iran has already vowed retaliation. And the international community is going to definitely be closely watching. Legal challenges here in the United States may arise regarding the need for congressional approval for military action here. So yes, Fordo was hit, and that is a critical escalation. Very much so. Very much so. So I wanted to come on as soon as everybody started hitting me with it. I just said, well, I was going to just make it out a video, but I said, no. Let's just go on ahead and let's just put it out there right now. Okay. This is very important breaking edition of our program here. And so this is a big moment in history, in my impression, that has unfolded. And this is for the first time ever, the United States has directly struck the Fordo nuclear facility in Iran. I want all of you guys to just let that sink in for a minute, okay? Because it's not just one or two publications. We just got through hearing it from Fox News, we just got through reading it from a couple of other news articles that we pulled up. So we do know that according to more than just a couple of outlets, and we do know that this is confirmed, including the statement from Mr. Naranga. I had never thought that we would have the use of stealth bombers carry out a coordinated attack on 3 of Iran's most sensitive nuclear sites. Again, Natanz, Isfahan, and the nearly impenetrable Fordow. Now, again, for those of you who are coming in, Fordow is not just any facility. Again, as we said at the top, for those who are just coming in, it's buried deep, deep inside of a mountain near the holy city of Qom. And it's designed to survive airstrikes. It's designed to preserve Iran's ability to enrich uranium even under threat. And yet today, it was hit. This marks a dramatic shift in the geopolitical climate. It really does. Because up until now, strikes on Iran's nuclear programs were mostly covert, okay? Mostly surgical in nature, and often attributed to things like cyber attacks or the Israeli drones like we saw not long ago. But this right here, this is the first time that the United States has openly acknowledged a direct military strike. President Trump called the operation a success, stating that all the bombers returned safely after delivering a full payload. Meanwhile, Iran's state media has confirmed the damage of that Fordow site, including, get this, key infrastructure that was thought to be nearly impenetrable. Experts are now questioning, I'm only imagining that they're questioning just how deep that damage truly went. And the world is watching very, very closely. This event may well redefine the balance of power in the region and escalate tension in ways that few were prepared to see unfold this quickly. Now, you guys, as always, I'm going to continue to follow this story with precision and with peace, no sensationalism, just the facts, with room for us to breathe and reflect. I don't know. I just don't know, you guys. I am so happy that you guys are here. I'm very happy that you guys are allowing me to be myself and to give you the information that I understand and that I know. There's no way to look at this other than to ask the question, why? Like I said last week, we were already at meeting 5 when this started. Okay. We were already on meeting 5, and meeting 6 was to have been that Sunday. So this tells me that this is not going to end well. Now, I do know, and I want to ask you guys, have you heard about Xi Jinping and a possible coup? Has anybody heard about that? Has anybody heard about that? I just heard about that the other day. Huh? Has anyone heard about it? Because when I saw that, I said to myself, I don't know. I have no idea. But if that's the case, then it tells me that there is a lot of shifting going on, if there's any truth in that. If there's any truth in that, there's a lot of shifting that's going on, because I also understand that they were saying that the entire Iranian upper echelon had pretty much been wiped out in this last event that happened between Israel and them last week. Those are really important points. Those are important points. And here's why I say that. If there is any validity to the rumor that went down with Xi Jinping, which was very hard for me to even read, okay? If there's any validity in that, and if there's any validity in all of their upper echelon being hit in Iran, that tells me that that was done from within. Because I know that Major General Hussein Salami, the former IRGC commander-in-chief, between the 13th and the 14th, when Israel launched those precise airstrikes that went over there and hit Iran, they eliminated at least 6 of the top IRGC commanders. That included Salami, Bagheri, Gholam Ali Rashid, Amir Ali Hijazda. I know that. And there were also 9 of their nuclear scientists that were killed. 9 total. Then on the 21st, which is today, Israel's reported that there's an additional 3 senior IRGC commanders, Saeed Izada, the head of the Palestinian Corps in the Quds Force, Benam, and I hope I'm saying these people's names correctly, Shayehari, that led the weapons transfer unit, and Amin Pour Judaki, the commander of the UAV brigade. Okay. So these things were targeted decapitation strikes aimed at dismantling both their military infrastructure and the nuclear program leadership. Western analysts are now saying that the most significant blow to Iran's strategic command structure since 1979 has happened. The Iranian leader, including the Ayatollah Khamenei, have expressed deep concern. Power dynamics appear shaken through the IRGC, and they all say that they remain resilient. So here's why it matters. The military, this impact is now causing a power vacuum where several top-tier commanders have been eliminated in days. The area of dealing with nuclear is the removal of all of those key scientists and how it could delay Iran's program by several years. So you take out all the cats that know how to do the good stuff, know how to make the mix, the party is over. And from a political standpoint, the IRGC grows more influential, suggesting a harder line policy ahead. So basically, this is the decapitation in Tehran, if I had to give it a name. Iran's power vacuum is basically what we're looking at. Just a series of sweeping blows all throughout the month of June. We're right now with what, the 21st? Just a series of sweeping blows across June. Israel has managed to shatter Iran's top military and nuclear command. Just think about that. And it means something unique for global security, folks. Each attack has taken out a very strong strategic part of their infrastructure and people who mean business and who were pretty much just going about their daily lives, creating whatever they needed to create, doing whatever it was that they were supposed to do. Here's my question. So are we going to go after everybody who has that capability? Is that what we're doing? Are we going against every single country that has the capability? Are we going to mess with Pakistan? It's the question. Are we just going after everybody, or just the people that are in that region right there where you need to get your thoroughfare through to the west, and as well let a lot of your enemies, family, and the people in that region go? Because that fallout right there is no joke. Remember what we titled the show that we did with Roy the other day? I inevitably settled on Chernobyl. I said 3.0. He said 2.0. And so we named it 2.0. But I truly and honestly do believe that it is going to be Chernobyl all over again, and even more exacerbated. That area has not even recovered from the fallout, now having animals that are unbelievably unique running around, where they're able to take cameras from far distance and zoom in on the street, on the city streets there. The fallout is unbelievable. Catastrophic damage. This is amazing. So I want to let everybody know that I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out. We have several of my awesome mods here, several of you guys. I want to thank you guys for being here, for manning the chat. I want to thank Rachel Van Ziel, One Peaches 41. Thank you so very much for your love offerings just recently. Rachel, thank you so much. I appreciate you. There are several others. I want to thank you as well. Ahal, it's good to see you. Okay. I haven't seen some of my mods in a minute. We all got lives, right? So the stuff we all dealing with one way or another. So I appreciate you guys whenever you can show up. I see Betty R. XX Frank Nitty. Thank you so very much. Josh is one of our newest mods. So I want to thank you as well for being here. Thank you very much. And there's Rage. How you doing there, Rage? It's good to see you. So I appreciate all of you guys for being here. It is really not as flip as he tried to make it when he basically said, thanks for being there. Thanks for listening, basically. Toodles, it's not that simple. Homeboy thinks that he can just walk away and everything's going to be all right. Here for the teeth. Thank you very much. Mods, thank you. All of my mods, I thank you guys for being here. And everybody else who has supported us, thank you so much for being here. The world has changed forever, Ahal says. And whether people understand it or not, Ahal, that is the truth. It is the truth. You see, this is what I call one of those ways that you can get two birds with one stone, and we'll just say two topics with one rock, right? Because you can hit your enemy, but then you can also take out a whole entire region with the nuclear fallout. Hey, Big Bad Bull, how you doing? It's good to see you. It's just one of those issues that Sarah, what's up? It's just one of those issues, Big Bad Bull. It's one of those issues where you'll find a lot of people with opinions. But here's the thing. Until the United States did what it did today, it really was a situation where you could stand back and say, this is not our fight. This has nothing to do with us, and I hope they get it together. But now it has shown a lot of things on a lot of fronts. First thing is, we see who the United States really does have its allegiance to. Like I pledge allegiance to the flag, right? It also shows you what Trump's main goal and agenda was with all of the visits and everything that he's done to schmooze or to get really close to Israel in his absence of the presidency. Okay, so we see that even when he was not the president, he was still receiving a lot of accolades, right? From Israel. He received that coin, and then he got that plot of land. I think at the end of his last term, he got that large plot of land. He's gotten, gee whiz, goodness, I just can't even begin to tell you everything he's gotten. I mean, he's gotten, he's pretty much low key, and it was a rumor. And I say it was a rumor because when I pulled the document, I only found that one story, and it was almost like nobody else was going to touch this rumor that he had become, that he had, transitioned over to Judaism. And then they had this big thing to try to clean it up, saying, "Oh, no, 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 he's a Christian. He's a devout Christian." Really? How does that work for you when you hanging out with Bibi? Yeah. And that is what they're talking about right now, Sandy, is then, giving him the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. If he didn't already receive it. That was something that was speculation, right? That was speculative, right? Well, listen, folks, as I promised, we've got about 7 minutes for us to get over there and sort of listen to exactly how he is going to explain this whole thing to the American people. All right. He has taken America into a totally different direction. But see, here's the thing. We have to also understand something, that when we as human beings begin to put our trust or our conversation or our eyes and our sights on a human being to, quote unquote, try to save us, we always will end up with this disillusionment. It will always end in disillusionment. Without a shadow of a doubt. I promise it will. Why? Because when you're shouting, "We need a king, we need a king, we need a leader. Oh, help us, help us, help us." You're asking the one who can help you to help you get some other human being to help you. How about going deep within? Helping yourself sometimes. Okay. Let's go on over here and see if Trump is ready to speak. I do know that we are a little early, and that he was supposed to be talking at, I believe it's 10 o'clock Eastern time, which is a couple of minutes from us now, because it's going into, it's 8:53 here Central. So let's just take a look. Okay. Let's just take a look. I really need to see this. I really need to hear what he's got to say. And I want to start it from the top. I don't want to wait and hear, some bottom pieces and all this other stuff or whatever he's got going on. We've got a couple of minutes here. Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes. So until that time, why don't you guys go on ahead and give me any questions that you guys have that I can text Roy and chat with him about, if he is able to, which I'm sure he doesn't mind answering a couple of questions. Oh yeah, it was Rage Against the Machine. If you see here on the screen, I'll go ahead and put it up there. It just, like he says, Roy Potter dropped the truth the other night. And I'm so glad, you guys, that we had him on the show when we did, because he foretold some of the stuff that we've all been, looking at. But he did it from a direction of being prior military and having known a lot of the people that are higher up right now. I think we've got something coming on here. Hold on. Let's just go ahead and see. All right. There he is holding up that fist. And I don't understand how you can go from, okay, there's notify. I'll just hit the notify, which doesn't matter because we're all good. But I don't understand how you can go from saying that you don't believe in it. You don't believe in it. No, you're not. You don't want any wars. I was the one that stood up for the war and said that we shouldn't be going over there doing such and such back in the year, thus and such. And now, dude, you've lost all credibility. And for everybody who was out there just gunning for that dude, I mean, they were just hoping that he was just going to be the one. They just knew it. You couldn't tell anybody anything. You couldn't tell anybody anything. And then we had the wounded ear and all that other stuff. Okay. You had the wounded ear. You had all of that stuff. All of this stuff was so amazingly trying to walk the fine line of religiosity and the fine line of end time eschatology. It all rode that lane, every inch of it, because they knew all you got to do is get a few people from Hollywood to get them together and make us some scripts. You guys, make us a couple of scripts. Help us out with this. Help us out with that. Let's just put it out there. Help us out with getting the word out, to make everybody believe that this is who we are and this is right and accurate. Next, what are we going to be looking at here? Boy, oh boy. I don't even want to let you know that I've got copy right here, which is what I was recording. I got some copy that is telling everybody exactly why they're clearing out the space the way that they are right now with mankind. Because there's going to be a new wave that's coming that's going to require smaller amounts of humans. Did you know that the word herbs stands for urban, but it's a Roman word that talks about the community or the people? Herbs. And then there's another one that starts with a C that means the citizenry or the communita. But these are both Roman words, and these Roman words really are telling you that they need a specific amount of people that they can control and run. Well, that's exactly where we're headed. And I think that right now, the way that we are looking at this situation is probably not as healthy as it should be. I think we should really be looking at what's going on underground. Pardon the pun. But I think we really should. We should be looking at what's going on, under the radar here. There's a lot of stuff that's happening right now. And I mean, some of the stuff, when I started unveiling some of the stuff earlier today, I was like, oh my God, this needs to be out there. And then this happens. So what I've got now may pale in comparison. It doesn't mean that I can't talk about it. I've got to talk about it. So you guys we're supposed to go live in the morning, but I don't know how we're going to go live in the morning and not deal with this elephant that's in the room. I don't know. But hopefully in a few minutes, when this cat gets on there, let's just go ahead and put it back over there and see if homeboy's back. So see if he's there. He goes with the fist. That's all we got to see is that fist. Make America great again. Dude, I don't know who you are or what you've done with Mr. Naranga. I don't know where Mr. Orange Man went, but I can honestly tell you that ain't you. Just like the other cat, you were accusing of him not being him. You were accusing him of not being him. Yeah, that's what you were doing. You were accusing him of not being him. You guys, we have 1 minute. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and give Judge Joe Brown a couple of seconds here to tell you guys about his barbecue sauce. And then what we're going to do is come on right back. And by the time we come back, maybe this cat, since it's got 60 seconds to go, will be there. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.